you do the kind of factor analysis and creating variables and data, you do get that nonlinear effect, but the coefficients aren't quite statistically significant.
Well, yeah, I would put that in the paper because I think that you'll definitely get that, question from a reviewer, and that would be nice to say that, it's just much more precise in addition to being, what you should be doing anyway.
Yeah. People get suspicious really fast the more complicated the model gets.
Right, yeah,
even if you can say that it's sort of the right way to do it, people don't.
Right.
People worry about it. Yeah.
Circular revision, but in the deliberation process, these tables, is there any sort of information provided to the discussants, or is it just strictly people coming in with what they know, and if there is disagreement over a factual belief, then it's just up to them to butt heads?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I wasn't involved in the study itself, so in some ways what happened at the events is still a little bit shaky for me. But I do know that at each of these, all the events were linked together via video uplink. And there were experts at each of the sites who came in and discussed, gave kind of sort of the expert presentation, as well as politicians. And in fact, our governor was at, I think, the Sacramento site, and or maybe he was at the LA site. But there were sort of politicians and experts who gave presentations. And I'm not sure about whether they were provided reading material either beforehand. And if it were me, that's what I would do. But I don't know the answer to that.
To me,
I hope so.
To me, it would be fascinating that you control and have some groups factual information,
Right.
and others let them just come in with their
Yeah.
existing beliefs and see if the satisfaction is higher in
Yeah.
one group than the others.
I would love to, especially to Tell America Speaks. They had 8 of these, and you have one way, and they have a formula. It's very interesting. If you ever just type in America Speaks sometime into Google, I'd never heard of them until I did this, but they're a kind of a grassroots organization that just cares deeply about deliberative democracy, and that citizens, they don't care what citizens think, but they really care that they think things through and talk to each other. And so what they do, they throughout the year, they hold these sessions on a much smaller scale, and they have a formula that they have that has kind of there's sort of a bullet point list you'll see if you go to their website about what you need to do to foster a constructive discussion. And a lot of it involves, the shape of the table, that people are facing each other, and you don't have, they wouldn't want to have this kind of format, and they encourage having kind of a diverse group of participants and making sure people don't get to choose what seat they go to. And anyway, there's kind of a long list of things that they recommend for fostering constructive debate, and it's based on a lot of work that they've done. And so what we're doing is we're trying now to make an assessment about, well, is it, I think if you were to read their template for what makes a good discussion, I think it's really cool, and it's a really great, they have a lot of great ideas, but they've never really assessed whether they work or not, right? So that's what we're trying to do. But and so I'd have to go and look, but perhaps one of the things is whether they if they provide reading material. I hope that they do. What I'd love to do is to get them to do some of these different and try to get a sense of the different components. But to them, it's like it's sacrosanct. Is that the right word? Where you have to do it their way, and they won't even consider it, because when they do these things, they're not doing it as an academic exercise the way I would, right? I would get like an NSF grant and just do it as like a real experiment, but they're doing it because that's their lives. It's what they're true believers in doing this, and so to the extent that we can get them to kind of tinker with the design a little bit. Like, so next time at these fiscal future events, they are going to randomize people to tables. They're going to do that because we're asking them to. But for the most part, they don't want to mess with their design at all. So that's the perpetual challenge of academics working with non-academics, that there's these tensions in terms of cross purposes.
Your results are very consistent with the banks.